So, all right. So let's look at our last Ask the Fight, guys. And it's, do you think that the easing of lockdown will mean more or less novelty fights with YouTubers and the like on the zone? Now, that question came from, let's see, it was from Jeff. And he also was a question that I thought was really interesting from the Athletic. Go ahead. I would love to hear your answer.
I think Jeff's a genius because I think Jeff is right that the one thing that people, especially the YouTube audience, who aren't necessarily buying tickets to the fight live because it's a worldwide audience, the novelty fight could have a lot of success, especially considering that it's usually sandwiched inside of a traditional boxing show with a major headliner.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let's look. He says, do you think that the easing of lockdown will mean more or less novelty fights? So your answer is you think it could mean more.
Yeah, I think it's a great way for the or promoters to be able to make fights that could draw either more subscriptions or pay-per-view, viewership, whatever, without being concerned that you're really going to sell a big gate for that. Because even the actual demo that's going to watch those fights is a demo that would prefer to probably just stream it or watch it on a smart TV, smartphone, tablet, computer, whatever anyway. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it's one of those things where you can kind of go to the well and you can promote, because the majority of the promotion for those fights take place on social media where those people are strong. When you have 20 million YouTube subscribers, when you have 5 million Instagram followers, you know what I mean? So I think that that's a way that you can use a vehicle to promote a fight that probably doesn't garner a big gate revenue anyway, but could garner you a really good pay-per-view or subscription jump.
I don't know. The ticket sales for Logan Paul KSI were really pretty impressive. They were pretty impressive. But
it wasn't a standalone card. Devin Haney was on that card. Who else was on that card? It was a pretty decent card. So
Jamel Herring was on that card. Which
no, he wasn't. Was he?
No, not Jamel Herring. I don't know. Why did I say
no? That's
Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer.
Right. I'm just saying, like, you still had a boxing audiences. You still had and that was in LA, right?
That one was, yes.
Okay. I mean, look, I don't know. I think it's a good question. Honestly, he just got my wheels turning. So, Jeff, thank you.
Yeah. I feel like, but see, I guess my whole point is part of that same vehicle or that same approach can be used for traditional boxing. It's just that traditional boxing people are just not embracing it or willing to try it. I'm not even saying that it turns into this humongous success and it changes the way everybody does business, but I certainly feel like in this climate, going that route for promotion and going that route from a presentation standpoint is worth it. I feel like it's worth it to sacrifice one or to take a chance with one potential pay-per-view fight,
right, for
everybody involved to say, let's do something different that's never been done before.
Right.
And let's present this in a way that this is an experience, and we promote it this way, and we use social media to promote it this way.
Right.
And I don't know. I just feel like it just makes all the sense in the world to try it that way. But I think that was a really good question.
It was. I think it is, because I think that those types of fights, you don't have to. I think that it's bringing more in subscriptions and eyeballs via pay-per-view, whatever, than really worrying about what type of gate you're going to get. So I think because of that, and social media would be the driving factor in promoting it, that it would work. But you know, I'm a purist.
Yeah.
I mean, at heart, I mean, sometimes. Pardon?
A little too much sometimes.
I mean, look, I'm a purist in the sense that for me, this is the business that I'm involved in. And I think that there's room for novelty in certain aspects, but not to become the norm.
See, I don't, and when I say purist, I mean, you're a pure boxing business guy.
Right.
And I think sometimes it gets in the way of the fun. And because for fans, it is that.
You know what I look at it like? I look at it like this. I do think there's a place for it. Mm-hmm. What is it? What is Big Three? I'm just saying, like, there are things that people. What is it? So I'm gonna sound like an idiot. What is Ice Cube's basketball brand?
The Big Three.
All right, so I got it right.
I didn't know I had no idea we were talking about basketball. So.
Well, what I'm just saying it's not the NBA.
No.
But still gets a good turnout. Yeah. Still, there is a place for things to take place around certain sports, as long as the expectations are of a certain expectation.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it works. Listen, I've said this before. I think it works. I think, like, I was at the Jake Paul fight against the big nose guy. No, that's what he, stop it. That's what he called. That's like his own. Stop it. Miami Fight Night. Okay. And trade. Listen. And trade was the main event.
I know exactly who you talk about. It's right. Anderson Gibb. The big nose guy.
Listen, Miami Fight Night.
Yes.
And say his name backwards.
Who? Anderson Gibb?
Yeah.
Gibb Anderson? Oh, big nose guy. Yeah. Okay. Big nose something.
Something. Just listen to me, Brian.
Hey,
I will educate you. Listen,
okay, thanks.
Miami Fight Night. I'm telling you that more than half that paying audience cleared out. 2/3 that audience cleared out after that fight. They were there for those guys.
I totally get it. That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
No, there's a place for it. It doesn't matter. Definitely a place for it.
Yeah.
They weren't interested in Tevin Farmer against Jojo Diaz, which was a great fight. And they weren't interested in Andrade. I mean, they were sandwiched in between two compelling fights. Mm-hmm. And everybody left as soon as the Jake Paul big nose guy fight was over.
That was my point, that their live gate is still, generating something. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's a good question, because the question was, would the ease of lockdown see more or less of these fights? I think, anyone that's smart would find a way to incorporate more of these into the overall scheme of things. It's just that the traditional promoters have a hard enough time keeping their guys busy. Every card is stacked right now with 10 fights because they need to keep these guys active. If the average promoter has 70 fighters under contract and all are guaranteed 3 fights per year, that's a lot of fights that you have to put on over maybe 30 to 40 dates. You know what I'm saying? So, they have a hard enough time keeping their contractual fighters busy, let alone, starting to build shows around more of the novelties.
For sure.